YouTube family, welcome to the show. Help us out by smashing like and subscribe as we look ahead to a full weekend of fixtures. Vamos! The European season is officially back. Serie A and La Liga join the rest of the top 5 leagues in returning to action this weekend, and that means more games for us to binge on. And I'm joined by my man James Bench to look ahead to the biggest matchups as 2 London Giants collide on Sunday, 2 former England internationals square off, Milan kick off their title defense, and Barcelona, well, they're just trying to register some players for their new arrivals. Qué Golazo begins right now. Hey everybody, welcome to Qué Golazo. Thank you so much for being part of the family. YouTube.com/Qué Golazo, Qué Golazo Pod on Twitter. Thank you again for all the support. We continue to grow, and a main reason for that is the good people like this person right here. James Bench, how are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm struggling today. It's
What's
like
wrong?
30. What is it?
Oh, it's
I
hot.
don't know what it is in Barcelona.
Okay,
It's
let me
like
see.
33 degrees here. It's killing me.
Oh
We got
God.
first full water breaks in the Premier League this weekend. It's quite exciting.
I
That's
mean,
what I'm most excited for.
You need to do an article on this, James. I want to know how
should.
I was taken down. Well, stay cool, stay refrigerated, stay calm. I know a lot of people are thinking, are
I've got
you
my
as
big
friends?
fan.
Oh, nice. Wait, show me that again. That looks like a megaphone.
It's like a little camping fan.
Oh my God, James!
We'll hear that in the mic.
You went all out. See, what people don't understand in England, like these houses and the communities, they're not built for this weather, man. It's tough. It's tough stuff.
You won't find AC like anywhere in any private residence because up till about 5 years ago, it was the sort of thing you'd use once every 3 years, and now the climate emergency means that we have a future as a Mediterranean country that we are absolutely not prepared for. But maybe one day we'll hit the right balance. And
20 years from now, Scandinavian countries will be like, let's go to London for our summer vacation.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. Well, stay cool, my friend. And good note there. Let's keep track to see how those Premier League players are doing. And actually, the entire English league does this weekend. But yes, it's scorching here in Barcelona as well. And the summer continues. And so there's the weekend preview, baby. James mentioned yours truly. We'll talk about some matches. We'll begin with the Premier League, take a little break. We'll do some Serie A, La Liga, some final thoughts from James and myself, and then that will be it. Let's begin in the Premier League. James Bench, a big London derby, of course, Chelsea, who got a 1-0 win over Everton in the opening weekend, and Tottenham, who got a 4-1 win over Southampton, a nice London derby. Antonio Conte against Thomas Tuchel. Chelsea should feel good, James Bench, since losing consecutive Premier League games against Tottenham in 2018. The Blues are now unbeaten in 7 games against their London rivals, conceding only 1 goal in that run. But something tells me, Benj, that this could be a different scenario. I don't know. I have a lot of belief in Antonio Conte's side. Talk to me about this game. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's really fascinating, isn't it? It feels like probably the first big game that we've seen across the whole of Europe in the 22-23 season, first big league game. And therefore kind of feels like we're coming into this with a lot of unknowns. I feel like especially with these 2 teams, I think there's a view that maybe Tottenham, because of their summer business, and especially because of the progress they made under Antonio Conte in the last few weeks of last season, they might just have leapfrogged Chelsea. There's a little bit of stability there on and off the pitch. I can tell you broadly. I mean, to be fair, I can tell you what Chelsea's lineup will be. I just don't kind of know that it's what it was and that every player is as effective as they were, whereas Tottenham are probably going to be getting to the stage quite soon where they've got a really settled 11. They've got plenty of options off the bench. And in that kind of 4-1 thrashing of Southampton, what was obviously so encouraging for Spurs fans was that they did that without Harry Kane or Heung-min Son scoring. I think Son got 1 assist, didn't he? And but the rest sort of Sessegnon, players like that really coming to the fore. And this seems like a squad.
I made the mistake of captaining Heung-min Son this past weekend as well. I know that you did well in fantasy, so I'm hoping
I'm leading the way, boys.
I know. It's amazing. But keep going, my friend. I think the identity is the big factor here, right? Like Tottenham know who they are under Antonio Conte, and Jimmy Conrad, our friend, always says Tuchel doesn't really know his best 11 from one day to the other. Do you think that's changing a little bit more with the German manager? Yeah.
Well, I think what's quite interesting is I would maybe agree, and especially now that we are seeing this great big turnover at Chelsea, I'm intrigued what they're going to do with someone like Marc Cucurella. I think he's probably going to be the left of the back three, and also a player that can rotate with Chilwell at left wing back. But anyway, that's kind of by the by, because I think what we saw on that opening weekend was like quite a typical Chelsea performance, where they didn't give up many goals. They got that Jorginho penalty. I mean, this is sort of like Chelsea of Tuchel's first 6 months all over. Very tight at the back, maybe not the most expansive, but they got the job done.
Yeah.
And I think, this is why, as much as I'm excited to be at Stamford Bridge on Sunday, I do think this might be quite a cagey, frustrating game. I mean, we've just got the over-under there. I would certainly be looking at under 2.5 goals. Spurs, we know when they play the big teams, what they like to do under Conte, like they did with City, like they did with Liverpool, is soak up pressure, use that back five, and spring into life through Kane and Son and Kulusevski. Chelsea, though, are not a team that leaves the back door open. They are not a team that is going to overcommit numbers in attack. They'll have those three centre backs. They've got wing backs that can cover the depth. So I think this is going to be cagey and tight and difficult and edgy. But equally, like you say, I think there is something about Chelsea and Tottenham, and we all know even before this recent good run, this whole century pretty much is what we've had so far. Chelsea have dominated against Tottenham, and I think maybe even that psychological edge at Stamford Bridge could be quite a big factor, actually.
Yeah, back in January, when they played each other, I believe it was the first leg of their League Cup semi-final as well. Antonio Conte's kind of first taster, he was saying, if you compare it to our team now, there is no comparison. We've seen the difference between the two teams. I know the situation, it's very clear. There is an important gap. I feel the gap is definitely much smaller due to the arrivals. We were talking about Bissouma, of course, Perisic, and Kulusevski, I think, is going to have a great season as well. If you're thinking about a player in particular and what do you want to see, I know that you mentioned Cucurella. Is there anybody from either side, really, that you're paying extra close attention to for this game?
Is it really boring to say Son? It probably is, isn't it?
It's not boring. Well, he's my pick on so many reasons. We're going to give him more love, I think. Heung-min Son's amazing.
I think we're almost... No, we're not going to get to... He is so good that luckily he can't become a sort of Lee Carsley, regularly
like annoying,
described as underrated and then becomes a little bit overrated. But I mean, I think he's kind of getting his dues now. But obviously, I think for me, he feels like the X factor across the whole front six because he's the superstar finisher. I think that's the difference I have between these two teams is if this is a tight game where someone has to convert their half chances, and you're saying you want the ball to fall to someone, it's Son first, it's Kane second, then it's sort of Sterling, but the gap is quite significant. I think that is kind of where my issues are around this Chelsea team. Havertz had a really poor first game of the season. Mount was quite disappointing as well. But I mean, that it feels like it's lacking a killer edge. I really like Sterling. I think his weaknesses in front of goal, or his deficiencies in front of goal, are often just when you take as many shots and get in as many good positions as he does, you're going to have a few misses in that resume. But even then, they have one good shot taker who gets into good positions in the area in Sterling. Like Spurs have more. Spurs have a bit more attacking weaponry, attacking thrust than I think is very early days. But, I really like Ryan Sessegnon as well. And I think actually he could be someone that adds yet another. He's a perfect Antonio Conte fullback. Reminds me of some of what Marcus Alonso did with late runs into the box. I remember the first time Fulham got promoted and he was, he had the shot profile of Pippo Inzaghi. I really like Sessegnon. I think he'll suit Conte well. So that's where I'm at. I think that if we're talking about a game that's sort of 10 shots to 8 shots or 7 to 6, I just trust that Spurs will get them to the right players and those players will convert. And maybe that's something, I mean, we know Chelsea are looking at Aubameyang. We know Chelsea are looking to strengthen their front line. That's maybe something they need to prioritise and will be regretting not having this weekend.
Yeah, especially since Timo Werner back to RB Leipzig, of course.
I think that's the best bit, isn't it?
At least the fact that he's gone and that they didn't have to worry about it. Right.
If a chance is falling to anyone, at least it's not Timo.
Well,
I hate saying that. I loved it. I thought he was like people that get as many shots as he does. Like analytics nerds will tell you this is the most valuable thing you can do is get shots.
But sometimes things just don't work out, James. Yeah. It just wasn't a relationship to be made. And speaking of that, by the way, very quickly, I wanted your take on this because obviously, it's a hot topic to discuss regarding the Chelsea situation. Tuchel's relationship with Christian Pulisic seems that we've known for a while he doesn't quote unquote trust him or whatever, trust him to be a regular starter. I don't know what you want to make of, but what do you make of the situation there, Christian Pulisic and his future, I guess, with the London side?
Well, so I mean, I think the thing we've got to remember is the Champions League games last season, both cup finals. Did Pulisic start both cup finals? Tuchel was
one of them he was injured, but he started in the other one. Yeah.
I remember speaking to Tuchel about this last season, and I think, he trusts the player, but I think his assessment of Pulisic is probably one we'd all share, which is he's not in the three best forwards that Chelsea have. And so, I think however you really want to construct it, I think the most convincing role for him is something like first or second reserve forward. If he's happy with that, and kind of by all accounts, he's not unhappy with that. I think
the only caveat is something that Jimmy and I were talking about in the recap last night is that it's a World Cup year and he needs minutes. So if his minutes are reducing rather than going the other way around, and somebody like, apparently, according to The Athletic, Newcastle are kind of, keeping their eye and stuff, do you think a chance that the American could, before the end of the transfer window, say, thank you for my introduction to the Premier League, but I need minutes, man, because the World Cup's coming up.
Yeah, Newcastle's an interesting one. I feel like the minutes are there, though. They're just kind of maybe not in the big Premier League games. It's EFL Cup, Champions League, coming off the bench. And also remember 5 subs here. I wonder, though, let's say an Aubameyang comes in, one more forward. That does push him down to 5th. I think for the right move, I can see the logic. I don't think it's necessarily a relationship anyone wants to end. And let's not forget, from Chelsea's perspective, they've let Lukaku go, they've let Werner go, and so far, those as a pair, they've been replaced by Sterling. Ziyech is very, very keen to move on. He's kind of pushing for AC Milan, perhaps even more than AC Milan are pushing for him. So you do need players, and I think that's the fiddly thing. So I think to your point, if Aubameyang comes in and reports that maybe it's not impossible that Frankie de Jong does maybe make a move to Chelsea, then you're creating a little bit of a substantial squad. All I know is this, because obviously Pulisic needs to play. He wants to play, and if an opportunity rises where our club in the Premier League, he doesn't have to leave the league, are interested, I would think that he would probably seriously consider it. Regarding the situation with the World Cup. So we'll have to see about that. But it's interesting. On the other side of it, though, Richarlison coming back and stuff, Harry Kane, Heung-min-son, Kulusevski. Give me your prediction for this game. Obviously, historically, recent history as a heavily favored Chelsea. Where are you going? I'm going 1-0 Spurs. I don't know if maybe this is like kind of when I went through the whole summer of the World Cup of the Euros, predicting that England would lose every game. And maybe I'm trying to repeat this. I don't know. I mean, I think in the end, Tottenham just look.
They look good, man. They look good, man.
I'd say it was only Southampton. And I think we also have to say, when we say that Spurs look good in that opening week, God, Southampton looks so bad.
Yeah,
at some stage we need to talk about them. But yeah,
they look good though, man. And I'm with you. I'm going with a 1-0 win as well. I just feel the rhythm of the game. Chelsea, a lot of possession, and to your point, Tottenham are just going to hit them on that counter. And boy, do they have the tools to do it. So it'll be tight. It'll be interesting. I'm giving it 1-0 to Tottenham as well. We will see. All right, let's move on. Des Norris, why do you annoy me like this? He was telling me, James, we need to have a game where, there's a crisis, or maybe created crisis. And I'm like, stop it right now. And he's given me, of course, Aston Villa against Everton. The question for so many years for England fans was, do you play them together, Frank Lampard or Steven Gerrard? Well, now they're against each other, of course, as Frank Lampard's Everton losing 1-0 to the aforementioned Chelsea faces Aston Villa at home at Villa Park, who were just embarrassed by Bournemouth last weekend. The conversation in the fountain of knowledgeable fan base conundrum conversations on Twitter from Aston Villa has been tense, of course. They want to see a result, but Everton equally, they want to get things going, some recent signings. James Benj, talk to me. Stevie G against Super Frank. Aston Villa, Everton, the oldest fixture in English football. One of them, definitely in the Premier League.
It's got to be up there, isn't it?
Yeah, talk to me.
So, I think we're really talking about Villa here, let's be honest, aren't we? This is what we're interested in. Because I feel like Everton, the story for now is quite quick. I like the business they've done this week. Connor Cody seems like they're going to commit to
very good purchase,
which I don't necessarily think Lampard was planning, even at the start of pre-season.
Good purchase nonetheless, though, right?
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to have to play a back three. Although, I've seen him for England in a back four, and it's what he's good at.
What about the Belgian kid, though? The Belgian kid's a good arrival as well.
I know Jonathan Johnson thinks very highly of him, rates him very highly. So
please tell me that Everton fans are going to do the Rihanna song for him, right?
Oh, God, they've got to. Please. And also, just the first time they've signed like a midfielder in so long that you're like, okay, he actually does midfielder things, and he's not like massively post prime. Like, they're not signing 29-year-old Decore or 29-year-old Sigurdsson or whoever.
Well, they're about to maybe sign Idrissa Gueye once again, so that's a
they can't help themselves, can they?
But to your point, you're correct though. Everton, we know the package. It says what it says on the tin. They've got some new arrivals. Striker-wise, it's an issue. DCL still unavailable. I believe Solomon Rondon returns from suspension, but that's about it. Dele Alli, etc. This is about Villa. A Villa that looked awful in the opening weekend, hoping that things change. I said about Thomas Tuchel not knowing his first 11. Steven Gerrard 1000% doesn't know it. So how do you see this game? Villa Park will be very loud. Villa fans, make sure that you show up early because of train strikes, etc. And what do you make of this game then? Talk to me. I hate asking James Bench against the Villa because I know that it's coming. Come on, bring it.
What are we looking at with? I think the thing is, where do we think Villa realistically are? You look at the Premier League results since he's took over: 10 wins, 5 draws, 13 defeats, 38 goals for, 36 against. Expected goals again, they're kind of batting on around mid-table. And I think there's the 36 expected goals for, 38 against. It's and
it's very
and I think everyone involved in the club knows that isn't good enough.
Nowhere near. Definitely not from the ownership. Definitely not from the business that we've created. On paper, the business that has been introduced to Villa is fantastic.
And am I right in thinking that this week as well, the owners have put in another £30 million?
Correct. They've injected
directly
some more money
into the club.
Yep. Douglas Luiz is close to signing a new contract, so things are good off the field. It's just about understanding what is this going to look on the field. And listen, Villa fans just want a team that plays well. Whether we win or lose is a different story. And what happened against Bournemouth was unidentifiable. It was at least in terms of grit. To your point, statistically speaking, I think Gerrard's still trying to figure it out. But we didn't see a Villa side that really fought for anything. It felt like a preseason match for the majority of the time. That's why this game is very important, regardless of the scoreline. That's why it's important.
Well, and you say that off the pitch things are good, and as you say, there are owners here that are really committed to making Villa into or restoring them to their place as a big team. That is, of course, that is in many ways the most important, most valuable thing you can have. Equally, this week we've seen Paul McGrath, probably Villa's greatest ever player. Please disagree with me if you think I'm wrong.
No,
right up there.
He's definitely he's the greatest center back we've ever had, and we call him God. So that's all that you need to know.
Lambasting, or very critical of the decision to drop Tyrone Mings. I think that feels like a headache that is not going to go away. By all accounts, I think when Steven Gerrard says, look me in the eye. That's something he says a lot. I remember even sitting in a couple of press conferences with him last season, and he'd use that phrase. So I think that maybe got a bit overblown. But it feels like there are a lot of things that need to improve quite quickly if Villa are to become the football team on the pitch that they aspire to be off the pitch.
Correct.
And so therefore, I don't worry about Gerrard because I think he's a really good manager and I trust him to get it. But I think in terms of squad building, like you were saying, he's been dealt a tough hand. Having said all that, pure talent on the pitch this weekend, like there are a fair few people, if you rolled out Villa's second team, I'd rather have some of those players than...
Damn right. This is a very good squad. Yeah.
He's got options. I mean, I, for one, I've seen enough of Danny Ings over the last year to say that maybe Villa just bought him too late. Let's bring in, let's see what...
The thing is, you say that, but he gave us the most productivity last season, which maybe says a lot more about Watkins' lack of productivity last season. But that is a good point. Cam Arch is a third striker. All right, Des Norris wants us to keep going. Listen, you're the one that brought this game into our time frame, Des Norris. All right, but give me your prediction for this game. Villa, Everton, Frank Lampard needing a win, Steven Gerrard definitely needing a win. What do you have?
2-0 to Villa.
Love it. I'll stick in with that as well. Well done. Thank you so much. Let's move on, everybody. Let's talk about the rest of the Premier League fixtures. Des, show them up on the screen, please. Some quick fire thoughts on the following James Bench.
Good ones.
Okay, I'm going to read them. You just tell me where you want to go. Okay, Arsenal, Leicester, Brentford, Manchester United, Brighton, Newcastle. That's my pick, by the way. Man City, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Palace. Where do you want to go?
I mean, I'd have to go. I mean, as I am actually going to that one as well, I'll go Arsenal, Leicester. I mean, for me, a lot of focus on William Saliba. Well, you've got two fantastic young centre-backs that we have questions over their long-term future. Fofana at one end, expecting him to start amid that interest from Chelsea. And then Saliba at the other. He's coming up now against Arsenal's bête noire of Premier League strikers in Jamie Vardy, someone that can really test him in a very different way to how Palace did. Can he live up to that? I mean, he Ben White, Gabriel, Zinchenko, or Tierney, it looks like a solid defence on paper. But Leicester, and Vardy in particular, they're really going to test that. So that's one I really like the look of, and intrigued to see if Arsenal can get two good wins early on against the sort of teams that are tough, Palace and Leicester. But if you want to be top four, you need to be regularly taking 6 points from these sorts of games. So I'm intrigued by that one and looking forward to it.
Give me Gabriel Jesus hat-trick, please. Emirates Stadium should be rocking on that one. Very, very quick. What happens if Manchester United lose this game against Brentford?
Christian Eriksen asks for a transfer back to Brentford. Oh, God, I can't imagine who they'd go to sign.
He gets on the bus. He gets on the wrong bus by mistake after the game. Yeah, exactly.
I absolutely see all sorts of reasons why they could. I know. We should say Lisandro Martinez had the best headers won percentage of any centre back in the Eredivisie.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of this high criticism. And I'm not a tall man and I'm not a short man. I'm right there in the middle. But I'm getting very tired of these jokes. The poor kid, man, leave him alone.
Well, no, but this isn't. But obviously, there's the jokes, but also there's the very simple fact that yes, he might have won lots of headers. He's about to come up against Ivan Toney, and this is more one of these ones where we can actually understand how much of an issue his stature is going to be. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking as well. Did you see Kiefer Moore at the week? I mean, well, of course you did.
Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, an absolute beast. That team, by the way, is like what the Dothraki's just coming at you. It's absolutely insane. All right, very quickly, my pick was Brighton, Newcastle. I just love Brighton and Graham Potter, and Eddie Howe is a very good manager. It's good to see two young English managers going up against each other. Man City against Bournemouth, I guess we'll see a City win there. Erling Haaland, though, over or under, he gets a brace, a hat trick. What do you think?
Yeah, hat trick. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Bournemouth still putting this defence together, aren't they? I think they had Lerma at right centre back. So yeah, this could be. I mean,
we had like 66% possession against Bournemouth. Couldn't do anything. I'm sure City will take care of that. Liverpool should beat Palace. Before we take a break, James, anything else from those games that you want to discuss Premier League wise?
Just signed a new contract. So Harvey Elliott, one to keep an eye on. I thought everyone obviously talked about Darwin Nunez when he came on because obviously, but like watch Harvey Elliott. He brings something that no one else in that midfield does. He's more of a 10, but he will get in the box. He will take shots. He will do things that Liverpool midfielders don't usually do. And if he starts and if he crashes the box, I think that's the sort of thing that Gay and Anderson, such good centre-backs, but they'll struggle if there's another player making late runs into the box. So Harvey Elliott and possibly a bolt to him for the World Cup as well. Wouldn't shock me if he's
good call. Good call, my friend. Good call. All right, everybody, we're going to take a break. When we come back, some Serie A chatter, some chat from Spain, La Liga, final thoughts, and that will be it. James, Ben, Jeremy, our weekend preview. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Qué Golazo, James Bench, LME. By the way, Paramount Plus is the only place to stream every minute of every Serie A match in the US. And you can quickly and easily sign up for your very own account right now with a free 1-month trial by going to paramountplus.com/Italy. Just click the try free button and use promo code Italy for instant access to the best Italian club soccer available across all of your devices. Visit paramountplus.com/Italy and start streaming today. James Bench, Serie A is back, baby. How excited are you?
Oh, I cannot wait. Possibly. I mean, maybe La Liga would. Or I mean, it's certainly the only league in Europe right now where we might have more than 2 teams competing for the title.
Yeah, that's what Jimmy said. He said Serie A was number 1, and it's a good point. Right. Keep going, my friend. Yeah.
I mean, it's a great roll of fixtures. I know that will obviously be a lot of eyes on the defending champions, AC Milan. How cool is it to say defending champions, AC Milan? It's like back in the early noughties. For me as well, like I've spent, I mean, as everyone knows, because I'm always unavailable and spend a lot of time in Italy. I would love to get down to Puglia.
Oh, that's right, James Bench. You just came from Italy, so you're just feeling
that. I just came from
Italian...
Amalfi. Yeah, I was a little few hours in Naples on my way to the Amalfi Coast, and do obviously have a soft spot for Napoli. But in particular, Lecce are going to be my team this year, newly promoted. Pretty much hard. One of the hardest tests you could wish for at the start of the season, hosting Inter Milan. But I think that's going to be. I'm
Who's
really
everybody's pick, by the way. We did our and everybody, make sure that you for more Serie A content, make sure that you go to our preview. Michael Lahoud and Dre Cordero absolutely brought it, and some great stuff there. But James, we gave our predictions for. Who would win this? All of us at Inter Milan. How are you feeling?
It was everyone's view kind of that Lukaku is going to come back and score all goals.
It was part of the conversation, but a lot of it was also Joaquin Correa is there as well. And I think Inzaghi knows the team a little bit better. They look more balanced on paper. That 11 is very good. So they've made some smart acquisitions. And also I think AC Milan, tremendous stuff. But I think maybe the added scheduling headache of Champions League responsibilities might, get in the way a little bit. But we think Inter Milan's squad, Juventus arguably could be up there too, but Inter Milan's squad coming into this season is very, very sexy. And I think that's what ultimately we give them.
But I have this little feeling that Lukaku,
it's going to bomb.
It might bomb. He might bomb.
I know
I don't have like much to base this on beyond. Do you know what happens when like the player leaves and comes back every time? Whether it's a Griezmann, whether it's so many players. How can I not think of another one? But everyone listening to this will have about half a dozen.
They'll give you a bunch of names.
Pop into their.
I can't think of one.
Head. Go on.
No, I can't. That's what I'm saying. I'm also blanking out as well. No.
Sol Campbell at Arsenal. I mean, like I don't think you should ever really go. But as Lukaku himself proved by going back to Chelsea, I don't think you should really go back. And again, this is all just conjecture because he's perfect for Serie A and he's striking up the same old partnerships with Lautaro, but I don't see it quite working out. And it's just it's this dreadful punditry. Oh, it's a feeling I get in my waters. Whereas I think Milan are a young squad; they'll get better. And then I don't know. I spent all of last season preaching the demise of Jose Mourinho. But he's recruited really well.
I mean, we all have him in the top 4, my friend. That squad looks sexy. Gini Wijnaldum, of course, is there. Tammy Abraham's going to get much better.
Well, Dybala and Abraham, I might argue, is like as good a strike pairing as any in Europe.
Yeah,
it's Son Kane levels.
It's sexy. It's absolutely sexy.
I don't know. I don't want to pick them to win the title, but I feel like Roma will be in the title race.
Yeah, no, we have our top 4 was Inter Milan, I think Juventus is actually going to climb up a little bit higher.
What? What is
Come
all
on,
this?
Angel Di Maria is going to be an absolute
70,
force.
isn't he?
He can still do it. He's El Fideo, man. He's a 70-year-old noodle. It's still tasty. All right. But we all had Roma in the Champions League. That's your own sentiment as well? You think they're going to make it top
Yeah, I'm going to go for I might as well do the whole thing. So I go Milan, Roma, Inter. I probably would then go Juve just because it seems like Napoli have taken a little bit of a step back. I mean, Lazio look quite good as well, don't they, in terms of where they're at? But yeah, I think that there is a clear top three, and I don't think Juventus are in it. But
Jose Mourinho's the Roma, so they have him you have him as a runner-up. We will have to wait and see. Des, let's throw all those fixtures on the screen, please. I can't talk today. My God. Some quick fire thoughts then. Well, we've already talked about it. Milan, Udinese, Lecce, Inter. Anywhere else you want to go, my friend? By the way, Monza is also back. That's Berlusconi.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to say.
Yeah. Okay. Talk to me.
Intriguing squad building that they're doing down in Monza, isn't it? You know, I mean, I've just seen someone like Pablo Mari join up. Obviously, we have Silvio Berlusconi back in Serie A, which is, I don't know what the most political way to describe the return of Silvio Berlusconi is. But
the neutral way is amazing. I can't, it's ridiculous that he's back. I love
it's drama. But, you know, I mean, not just, you know, obviously Mari is the latest one they brought in, but Stefano Sensi, who was the future of Italian midfielders a while ago, Matteo Pessina as well. You know, there are some good players in that Monzo squad. But, yeah, so that will be it'll certainly be one to keep an eye out on, won't it? Other than that as well, I know Sassuolo have lost Scamacca, but, you know, having the likes of Berardi, they'll be a test for anyone. And I think that
they're a well-managed team as well, Juve, I think, against Juventus. That's right. Cremonese, by the way, is the other promoted team, everybody, facing Fiorentina, who Andrei Cordero is a little bit worried about them heading into this season. Just losing a few key players might just be too much. But make sure that you check out that preview, everybody, on Qué Golazo with Dre and Mike Lahoud. And don't forget, by the way, Milan Udinese is on Paramount Plus and CBS Sports Network. Make sure to check it out. All right, let's go from Italy to Spain. James mentioned to wrap things up, by the way. Barcelona, Rayo Vallecano. I'm going to be there. They might need me to play if they can't register, everybody. I might go up there and do my thing, James mentioned. But Barcelona against Rayo Vallecano. By the way, I played football. I played pickup with our good friend Sam Marsden from ESPN, who's been all over some great storylines here.
I can't believe he had time to play football.
I know. Well, he was telling me that in the morning here, and I agree because I've already been here for a bit, nothing happens until 11. At 11 a.m., everybody's like, all right, we might as well get going with the day. And that's exactly what's happened. So he's got a little time, James. It's not like the hustle and bustle that you're used to.
I was there for Primavera earlier in the summer.
Right.
And no one turns up till 9 p.m.
Nobody. Everybody, I don't know what they're doing. Nobody cares. And by the way, I don't want to belittle Sam Marsden's hard work because he works hard. I'm not saying that he doesn't start till 11 a.m. I'm just saying that we started playing. Anyway, he has been all over this, and so has our own people as well, of course. But Frank Kessie, Christensen, they could leave on freeze due to player registration issues. And also Lewandowski, Rafinha, Koundé, they're still not registered either. I forgot about Jules Koundé, by the way. And same goes for Dembélé and Sergio Roberto renewals. Kind of insane.
Because I kind of thought that when Barcelona signed Koundé, they'd forgotten about Christensen, who is starting a lot in preseason. But I'm like, why do you need these? I've written about this. We've spoken about this on the podcast, but it's still it does require just repeating over and over again that Barcelona have sold off large amounts of the family silver. They have frittered away broadcast income at a time when we only expect it to grow, when it is surely the growth market, especially in La Liga. And they've done that to sign a load of players that they can't actually play. And look, we're talking now just before midday Eastern on Thursday, so there's a lot of time, and I would suspect by the time the game rolls around that most, if not all, of these new signings will get registered. But it's just stupid. It is a baffling way to run a football club. And we see now the outcome of this, with Frankie de Jong being booed for having the temerity to turn up at work as he is contracted to do and receive his full salary that Barcelona have committed to paying him.
Yeah,
and
I would love all these fans that are like yelling outside the stadium. How would you like it going to your job and your job tells you, by the way, we want you to leave for no apparent reason.
Yep.
Because we found some illegalities in your contract, by the way.
Well, debatable.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm with you 100%. By the way, it's worth noting as well that La Liga has some of the strictest financial play regulations as well. So Real Betis as well, they were just having a little bit of issues in registering players. I believe that Atletico Madrid literally just registered Antoine Griezmann once again. So it is a league thing, but the way that Barcelona are doing it, and to your point, selling off so much of their brand and value for immediate need with future repercussions is a big thing.
And I think one of the things that's really intriguing me, and I mean, again, we're not talking about the game against Rayo Vallecano, because let's be realistic. If they can get all these players in the squad and on the pitch,
it's over. Yeah.
I mean, and they are possibly, like, if it comes together quickly, they're La Liga favourites. I mean, certainly they're a serious contender again, as opposed to what would have been if they just rolled back last season, squad, the second best squad in Spain.
Yeah.
It's just baffling.
Yeah.
And so all they'd have needed was Madrid to have an off year, and they might have won the title with an average squad. Anyway, what I was going to say is, one thing that intrigues me a lot is what damage this has done to the brand Barcelona. I think you need to go back less than 10 years to find a time when everyone across Europe, or so many people across Europe, Barcelona were their second team. This was football elevated to the highest level. People were queuing around the block to get tickets to the Camp Nou to see Xavi, Iniesta, and of course Messi. And we've kind of gone from that to, I mean, I know it's Twitter, it's not representative of everything, but you see people sort of wishing pretty dreadful repercussions, bankruptcy on Barcelona, because they don't like the way that the club has acted. And I think, the Mescayan club, clearly that was fading even in the days of Messi and the glorious times. But Joan Laporta has trashed any sense of Barcelona as a family club, a club that does the right thing, sometimes to a fault. Sometimes overpaying players because they're part of the family. And now it's, if Frankie de Jong is a family member, he might want to consider getting himself legally emancipated. And I think this could be the bit we don't talk about. We all talk about how in 3 or 4 years' time, Barcelona's revenue is going to be slashed because they're selling off a quarter of their broadcast rights, all those sorts of things. But actually, I do wonder if people will ever look at Barcelona with the same misty-eyed romanticism that I think they did kind of, and maybe not always correctly, but they kind of did for generations,
almost
Cruyff,
forever.
team. Yeah, there was something about Barcelona that I think is going to be really hard to get back.
It's a really, really good point. Really good point. The identity of this club is shifting before our eyes, and it's going to be intriguing to see whether that ever comes back or, to your point, gets even worse. But regardless, Barcelona are meant to play a game against Rayo Vallecano at Camp Nou, so we will see what happens there. And, Real Madrid fans are like, all this Barca talk, how about the actual champions? Well, rightly so. As we're taping, it's the day after winning the Super Cup, and they didn't look like they skipped a beat. James mentioned Real Madrid look very, very good. Carlo Ancelotti has added a few things. Of course, Tchouaméni, the French international, and, Camavinga is going to get better, of course. It's essentially the same squad with just a few little adjustments. How highly do you rate this team heading into the season?
Yeah, really highly. I mean, I think we all know that there was something unlikely about how they got to the European Super Cup final and European champions. But equally, they're a really strong team. And one of the things I've liked that the guys like, the Spanish reporters have been talking about a lot, and I'm intrigued by, is what Carlo is doing with Eden Hazard and has been doing in pre-season, working him as a false nine. I feel like, for whatever flaws there may be in Ancelotti's management, and there's not many of them, he will work with players. He will work with what he's given, and he will not bomb. Eden Hazard, if he's fit, wouldn't imagine will be part of the bomb squad. he will be given his chances. And I'm intrigued as to, let's say that the burst has gone, the ability to beat 2 or 3 men off the wing has gone. Like, can Hazard do something a little bit different? Can he be not Benzema, because he's not going to get the shots up, but can he kind of do the playmaking stuff that Benzema does, and let Benzema rest? Because obviously that's the issue in this squad. They've got the midfield of the future is ready to go the day that Casemiro and Kroos and Modric hand in their badges and hand in their guns. But same in defense. But if Hazard could just be the stopgap, the guy that lets Benzema rest, that could be quite a fun little thing to keep an eye out for as we kind of wait for the Champions League to get up and running. Will we see Hazard get some minutes as a false 9?
Yeah, good point. Good point. It would be fun. Also, Rodrigo's ascendancy, how well he can do as well. And, I failed to mention, apologies, Antonio Rudiger should be adding a much needed support there at the back. Fantastic stuff. So they're facing Almeria, even though they're away, no doubt. I feel it's a Real Madrid win. Some notes as well. Americans in Spain: Yunus Musa, Luca de la Torre, Serginho Dest, Conrad de la Fuente. Any notes there from the Americans in Spain? I mean, it's good to see some more American representation in La Liga. Conrad is not confirmed, but the reports are that he could be on his way back to Spain. What do you make of it? I mean, I'm a big fan of Yunus Musa.
Yeah, he's the one for me that I really like the look of. Proper dynamic midfielder, and I think there's obviously for him there's a spot at the World Cup in the 11 available if he can carve that out. Working with Gennaro Gattuso should certainly add some qualities to his game, some midfield qualities. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on.
Yeah, it should be great. And of course, Ronaldo Fenómenos Valladolid as well is back in La Liga, so that should be exciting. And that's the team that reports are saying maybe Conrad de la Fuente goes to. All right, well, that was it, everybody. Thank you so much. Some final thoughts, James Bench? You can even go Bundesliga, Liga, go anywhere you want.
Yeah, I saw those 2 leagues in our agenda, or whatever you want to call it, and I got, right, Christ, find something to say about these 2. I got nothing.
Bayern Munich will just keep on going. I know. I'm sure our friend Ian Polger will get mad, but we can get him back in to discuss some more Bundesliga as well. And Liga. Don't worry, JJ. When you come back from vacation, you can talk all the league.
We'll just smile and nod while he's chatting along.
That's literally what I do. So, regardless of what happens. But thank you, everybody. James Bench, make sure to follow him at James Bench and his content on CBS Sports website, of course, HQ. LM Chegaray. Thanks so much for listening to Qué Golazo, by the way. Take a minute to leave us a rating and review if you would be so kind on your favorite podcast platform. We're on Apple Pods, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're also available as video, as you may know if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help us get to 20,000 subscribers. We do this just for you. Free episodes all the time. Weekend preview, weekend recap. We'll be back on Sunday night. I'm not going to be part of it, but the boys will take care of it for you. Have a fantastic weekend. James Bench, thank you, buddy.
Peace out.
Peace out, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. See you next time. Till then, bye-bye.